Well, good morning and happy Friday, everybody. It is the 22nd of September. We are sitting in the farthest corner of a Menards parking lot in Dundas, Minnesota. So, I was able to get quite a bit done yesterday, considering I had a drop-off first thing in the morning that took a long time, and then another drop and hook right after that. And of course all of that stuff eats time, but I still managed to get my butt out to Shell Rock, Iowa. Got there kind of late, and because I had to start that's another thing, I had to start the day late because my delivery wasn't until 10 o'clock in the morning, and I was at the terminal overnight, and it was 20 minutes, half hour away from the terminal, so I couldn't start my day as soon as I normally do. So that pushed me back later in the day, which I don't like, but that's part of trucking, right? So you have to adjust to accommodate the customers. So I pulled into Shell Rock, did my drop and hook. I was about to park there for the night because it was already dark, and then I was looking at my clock, and it's like, well, I have another 3 hours and change left on my clock, and it's about a 2.5 hour-ish drive from Shell Rock, Iowa distribution center up here to Dundas, Minnesota, to the store that we're currently at. And I thought, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to drive it and park in their lot, which I did. So here we are. We have a very, very long journey to get to our next delivery, which is about, 500 yards away. So we're about to pull into the gate at Menards and get ourselves offloaded. And then after that, we're going to run empty about 25 minutes away to Montgomery, Minnesota, to our friends over there at that connector place, little mom and pop shop there. Very, very nice folks over there, so I always like going there. And we're going to pick up a load that is going to Plano. So we'll go to the Plano, Illinois, DC for Walmart. Jesus. Hello, it's Friday, I'm tired, to the Menards DC in Plano, and drop that loaded trailer, grab an empty, and then scoot on back to the terminal, and that will be my week. So not too terrible a week. Got 580 miles on Monday, 555 miles on Tuesday, 484 on Wednesday. Yesterday was 488. And today will be just shy of 502. So I'll finish out the week at, somewhere between 2,600 miles, which is okay. Considering that the places that I've been going to this week, you can't really go much faster. I mean, I got a 70 mile per hour truck. I don't take breaks. It's just, you're going through cities and crowded areas and construction zones, and there's only it's only so fast you can go. And plus, some live onloads and live offloads, which, eat up your time, right? So all that considered, and with the amount of stops, I think that's doing pretty darn well. So, and I know the internet is full of truck drivers that, I do 7,000 miles a day and all this stuff. And you got all these guys that'll talk about, I do 600 minimum and 700 miles a day. It's like, okay, if you're running out west and you've got an ungoverned truck and you have like 2 loads that you're carrying for the week, okay, I'll buy it. I'll believe it that you're doing 600 plus miles. Okay, I get that. But you know what? If you're doing at least 1 or 2 stops a day and you're not driving in flat out open country with no construction zones, I call bullshit. It's fishing stories. A lot of the time, not all of the time, but a lot of the time. I think there's a lot of drivers that'll do 480 miles and say it was a 600 mile day. I think they're full of it. Because again, I've got a truck that's governed at 70. I run it at 70 when I can. And if I'm not running at 70, it's because the traffic situations don't allow it to run at 70. I'm in a 45 mile per hour construction zone. I'm in bumper to bumper traffic. I'm navigating through Minneapolis or whatever the hell, I mean, there's reasons why you can't run a truck fast, right? So considering that I'm running it flat out when I can, and I don't take breaks, I don't stop for lunch. I sometimes go 3 days without a shower. I run my entire clock, and a lot of times it's a struggle to hit 500 miles. That is the reality of trucking, not all this fancy bullshit about, oh, I do 600-700 miles a day. Now all the new drivers coming in are thinking they're going to make all this money because all these truck drivers are blowing hot air about how many miles they're running. And they're, these new drivers that aren't in it yet are sitting there doing the math going, oh my God, I'm going to make a fortune. Well, be careful what you hear on the internet, guys and gals. A lot of it is fishing stories. Anyway, that aside, I'm going to go deliver this stuff and we're going to get on with our day. So we are on our way to our next customer to pick up our load that's going to take us home. And I was heading down this way on Minnesota 3 and came across a detour. So they're doing some construction. And by the way, this is an absolutely breathtakingly beautiful area. And especially now with the trees turning, wow, is it ever gorgeous here. Anyhow, back to the detour. It occurred to me that maybe I should bring that up as a little topic as well for some of the new drivers. The detours, and especially when you see detours in the country. My advice to you is, if you encounter a detour, do not follow your GPS from that point forward. Don't even look at your GPS from that point forward. Go with the signs. Follow those detour signs like a hawk, and they will end up putting you back onto a major truck route. And sometimes it might happen that major truck route that it brings you to is the road you were on. Most oftentimes that's the case. Sometimes on a rare occasion they bring you a little away from it and then you have to meander your way back. And doing that might, let's say, send you a little out of your way, like you were going to turn onto another road, but now that it's construction and you're being detoured, let's say you have to go a little further south and then backtrack to get back to your route. You know what? Do it. Follow that detour. The reason I say that is because a lot of times new drivers don't know the roads rurally yet,
right,
and
21.
You kind of assume that if you're in the country, well, you can just kind of drive anywhere, and that's an absolutely false assumption. There are very, very, very few actual truck routes when you get out into rural landscapes. Most of these roads out in these parts are farm roads, and yes, you will see grain haulers on them during harvesting season and stuff, but that does not mean that they're open for regular truck traffic. And you can get yourself into trouble real quickly. You make one wrong turn and all of a sudden you're on this super narrow road that turns into a gravel road, and then there's nowhere to turn around. You can get yourself into a pretty sticky situation. So that being the case, if you're in an area that you're not familiar with and you come across a detour, my advice to you is to follow that detour. Do not follow your GPS. Do not try and think you're smart and I'm just going to go this way and there's going to be a road up there and I'm going to pick that up. Well, that road up there might not be a truck route. And also GPSs, once you get out into the country, which is another subtopic, especially Garmin. Garmin is the worst offender. A lot of these GPSs will route you onto country roads that forbid trucks. It's like the people that are designing and updating the programs really don't pay attention to rural roads. And I've had it happen where I'm about to turn right because the Garmin's telling me to turn right on this upcoming street, and just as I'm about to make the turn, I see the sign off, onto that street I'm turning on, with the weight limits, and clearly a semi-truck is way over the weight limit. So, and the county sheriffs are just waiting for you to make that mistake. You're a great source of revenue for them. So be very careful when you're in the country. You don't want to make a wrong turn. In that sense, it's almost like being in a city, ironically enough. One wrong turn and you're in a real pickle. So follow those detour signs, follow them through until they end. Again, unless you know your route, of course, that's a different story. But if you're in unfamiliar territory, follow those detour signs only until you're out of that detour. So anyway, back to driving towards our next customer. Oh, and just I remembered one other point, just to make sure that you also know if you're new. If you are on a detour and you are following the detour signs and you are going on roadways that the detour is indicating you should use, if all of a sudden your GPSs say this isn't a truck route, or if you even see signs that show this is not a truck route, or you're over the weight limit for the road or whatever, if you see anything like that, if that detour was detouring you off a truck route road, in other words, you were on a legal truck route and you're coming across a detour, as the moment they detour you off of a truck route, everywhere that detour goes automatically becomes okay for trucks. That is law. So even if the road says it's not okay for trucks, or it's not a truck route, or whatever, the only thing I would worry about would be bridge weights. But in a conventional semi-truck, you don't have to worry about that. We don't run loads that are that heavy to where that would be a concern in most cases. And I don't think I've ever seen a detour where they'll run you over a road that isn't that has a bridge on it that a truck wouldn't be able to go over. So just keep in mind that when they plan that detour, there are very specific laws that they have to follow, and if there is no other alternative than to put truck traffic onto a non-truck route, then they do that. And I have seen that. I have gone through a detour where one short section of it was through a street in a small town that would ordinarily not be authorized for trucks, but because of the detour, it becomes temporarily a truck route. So just wanted to make sure that you knew that, so that you weren't halfway through a detour and all of a sudden you hit your brakes and don't know what to do. Keep driving, follow the detour. You are perfectly legal. All right, all loaded up. It was a drop and hook this time around, and we got us a loaded trailer, left them there empty on a door. Once again, some of the nicest people you'd ever meet there. Super fast, super quick. Can't say enough about those guys. They're awesome. So now it's time to sit back, engage the cruise control, and enjoy the gorgeous countryside with the fall colors starting out. Hello, cows. Happy moo-moos. Hello. Hello, my kindred spirits. Oh, I love cows. Anyway, we are heading back to the state of Illinois, to Plano to be exact, and I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the scenery. Welcome back to gray, overcast, and drizzly Illinois. We are on Interstate 88 and heading east, and we're going to be taking Route 47 south in about 5 miles and take that down to the Menards Distribution Center in Plano, Illinois, to drop and hook there, and then head back to the terminal. And then it's weekend time for this camper. So on the way driving down, got a phone call, and I'm looking at my phone, and it's like, oh shit, it's the operations manager of the company. Yeah. And as I've said before, a few different times in a few different videos, anytime somebody, like, especially in a higher up position, when they're calling you as a truck driver, it's never good. It's literally never ever good, right? So I'm like, ah, shit, what did I do? So I pick up the phone. Now, I will preface by saying that I have spoken with this gentleman before, and the guy is about as cool gets, right? So, I mean, I get along famously with him. Great guy. And we've spoken before and, and had a couple of laughs. Very good guy. So that helped, right? So I know he's a decent human being and a good guy. So I'm like, all right, well, you know, if it is bad news, then, you know, at least it'll be coming in a reasonably nice way. So I answer the phone, and long story short, he just called to let me know that evidently the company's pretty happy with me, and that I've been doing a good job, and they're happy to have me, and they seem to like me, and all this good stuff. So it's like, wow, okay. Well, that's nice to hear. You know, it's nice to be appreciated, because that's a very rare thing in the trucking business, to be appreciated by anybody, let alone one of the big folks in the company, right? And then he asked me about my truck and if I like the truck and all of that, and I said, yeah, I do. It's been a wonderful truck, because it has. You know, it's not brand spanking new, but it's in great shape. It does everything it needs to do exceptionally well, and it's a pleasure to drive, and got all the creature comforts. Everything works. I can't complain. And he said, well, I just wanted to see if maybe you might be interested in a new one. Really? A new truck? Okay. Well, basically what I said is that, you know, again, I'm very happy with this one, but, I mean, I'm never going to turn down a new truck. I mean, come on. Especially because I'm kind of a technology geek. You know, so I love, like, all the advances in technology, all that good stuff. So I'm like, shit, yeah, of course. I'd be thrilled. So, yeah, long story short, he said, well, you know, we think you've been doing a great job, and we think you deserve it, and you know, make sure that you're happy, and, you know, you're running hard, and that's what we want in the new trucks. You know, we want them to be run and making money for us, and you know, you're doing a good job of that, and, you know, and it's more than just mileage. You know, they kind of use a whole bunch of different criteria to figure out who they want to assign the new trucks to, or at least offer them, because some people don't want the new trucks, right? So they're very happy with the one they have, and that's great. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. So, and that's another thing I appreciate about this company. It's not just one of these, oh, well, you do the most miles, so here's a new truck. You know, it's more of a, you know, yes, that is a big part of it, but it's also, well, are you professional? Do you represent the company well? Do the customers like you? Have we heard any good things about you? How about your dealings with the staff? You know, when you're talking to people, you know, inside the office or inside dispatch, are you pleasant to deal with? Are you responsive? Are you communicative? Do you communicate well and let the company know what's going on? You know, all these different things, which, you know, as he was explaining that, I was thinking to myself, you know, that's exactly how I would, you know, if I had my own company, that's exactly how I would look at it too. So it was kind of cool. And so he said, well, you know, there's two different options. He said, if you're eager to get it, you know, get into a new truck like right away, there is one that came in this week as you've been driving, and you know, you could take that one, and that's fine, and that would put you into a new truck really soon. He said the other option would be that we have a truck still en route, and it will probably come in next week, but latest by the following. But on this truck that's coming in, it's going to have those new video side mirrors. So I don't know if anybody is familiar with those. Some are probably, but they're a new type of rear view mirror that some of the trucking companies have been kind of testing for quite a while, actually. And it's taken a number of years to get them approved through the DOT for use, on the road, because and that's understandable. They want to make sure that the technology works and that it isn't going to fail, and that you're not driving down the road and all of a sudden, boom, you lose all of your ability to see, because the mirror system goes out. So evidently they've made it quite bulletproof and redundant. So if one camera, there's multiple cameras in each pod that's on either side of the truck roof, and there are these little winglets that stick out, and those cameras are in there, and the truck has no mirrors. It's all done through those video feeds, and then they post screens, these essentially the shape of a rear view mirror on the A pillar of the truck over here and on the passenger side, and they kind of mimic the split mirror design of a regular rear view mirror, but since they're video displays, they have this like glass technology on them that they don't fog up, they don't allow rain to stick to them, they don't allow dirt or dust to stick to them apparently. They can see much better in dark, so it's not quite night vision per se, but it's a lot more enhanced visibility. And they also have some sort of a technology where rain and snow is compensated for in somewhere in the video processing, so that also is a much better and more clear view without all of the snow, rain or snow messing up the vision. So it's a really fascinating technology, and I have spoken to a handful of drivers that have that drive trucks with them, because Schneider was one of the companies that has been testing them for a number of years now, and pretty much every driver across the board that I've heard of and that I've talked to says that there's a tiny little getting used to it for like a day, a half a day, whatever, but once you kind of get acclimated to them, you'll never want to go back. That seems to be the general consensus, that the visibility is so drastically improved that you would never even think of going back to regular mirrors again. So he said we do have, we've got 2 trucks that are coming in with those mirrors, and and if you want one, you've got kind of first dibs at it. So it's like, wow, okay. So yeah, I decided, what, I'll wait the, whatever it is, 2-3 weeks, whatever it is, because, again, this is a beautiful truck. I'm not in any urgent rush to get myself out of this truck by any means. And whoever gets it next is going to have a gorgeous truck. Yeah. So, your Uncle Dirk's getting a brand new truck. I don't know if it's going to be a 2024, I think. I don't even know. Maybe our 2020. No, yeah, it would be a 2024. I was going to say, are 2025s in production yet? No, but I mean, they do. Trucks go into production like way sooner than the calendar year. So, no, I think it's a 2024. But it'll be a white one, and it'll have those cool, funky mirrors. So I'm pretty stoked about that, and I think even more important than probably the truck itself is just the fact that these guys seem to appreciate what I do and appreciate what I'm doing, and appreciate the effort I'm putting in for them, and that's a really nice thing. Yeah, so that's cool. It's good to work hard, but it's better to work hard for people that, number one, notice it, and number two, appreciate it. And that makes a world of difference. So, kudos to M&S1 Express Inc. For paying attention to their drivers and recognizing all that good stuff. And so that's a pretty exciting way to end the week. So I think I'll cut it here, and more next week. Y'all be safe and have a wonderful weekend.